Hey everyone, I'm Jaden,
And I'm Noah.
and we are the Super Gamer Bros, and this is the Super Gamer Bros podcast. We're just a couple of brothers who love playing games and love talking about games, so that's what we do. So today, Noah, we are talking about Dishonored.
Dishonored. One of Bethesda's few new IPs. It was developed by Arcane Studios, and it surprisingly had a sequel. You said it was surprising. I kind of expected it because I don't think it sold very well on launch, but I do believe uh, it has almost like a cult following.
Yeah, I mean that's how I felt about it too, that it didn't necessarily sell well, but I mean having a cult following doesn't necessarily mean a sequel is guaranteed though, especially I feel like in games, at least I mean even in like movies that have like a cult following, if they get sequels, usually the sequels don't come out until years later when the cult following has had time to build up. But Dishonored 2 only came out 4 years after the first, so I imagine like they were at least developing it for a year or two.
I looked it up and they claim, like, Bethesda and Arcane claimed that Dishonored 1 sold higher than expectations, which I do believe, but I think Dishonored 2 sold very poorly.
I won't say for a fact, but I definitely believe Dishonored 2 sold poorly. And yeah, I guess, well, Dishonored selling well is a relative term because well would be compared to how much they expected it to sell. And if it did better than you thought, then I see no reason why you wouldn't make a sequel. But, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the first one.
So, like, a brief description of what Dishonored is. It's basically, I was talking to another one of our brothers earlier, and I was describing it as like stealthy Bioshock, because that's really what it is to me.
I think that is a very good description.
And I noted, like, I love and hate Dishonored. I love it because I love the lore of the world. I love the dark aesthetic it has, and it's also kind of like steampunkish. And I love stealth in games. I love being able to go through an entire mission without being witnessed by an enemy. In theory, but in practice, I had a very hard time doing that in any of these games.
Hmm. No, I agree. It's a difficult game, which I think we'll get into that a bit later because that's no. How did you? Because I remember how I first heard of Dishonored. How did you first hear of Dishonored?
I don't remember.
But I don't know if you remember. We used to watch a YouTube channel called Smosh Games, and in Smosh Games there was a show they did, I believe once a week, called Why We're Single, where three guys in the channel, uh, all kind of like there would be a different topic each week, and they would talk about their like games that fit in their topic. Like, for example, they did one where like video game characters superpowers they wish they had. And in it, one of them talked about Corvo Atano in Dishonored, which I had never heard of. But he was describing all the powers and they were showing gameplay and stuff. And I thought, dude, that game looks awesome. I want to play that.
No, I have no memory of that at all. I do
Oh
remember
yeah.
Smosh Games. Like, they're still a thing.
Yeah, but we just don't watch them anymore. But those playlists are still up of like the old shows. I know that. But yeah, no, it was just that's just where I heard of the game. That was the first time I'd ever heard of it.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't remember when I first heard of it.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I did. Yeah, I think that's a good introduction. Let's move on to the setting. So, Dishonored takes place in the industrial city of Dunwall, where technology and otherworldly forces coexist. And it's kind of like you said. I definitely playing the game get a very steampunk vibe from it.
Yeah, but it's almost like gothic steampunk.
Very gothic. Very very gothic. So the city's design is modeled on London and Edinburgh between the late 1800s and early 1900s. And then I guess it's getting some backstory of the game here. It is the capital of the Empire of the Isles. It is ruled by an oppressive regime that came to power following the assassination of the Empress and kidnapping of her daughter. The city is a center for fishing and whaling. Whale oil is a valuable resource which is needed to power the city. It's known as trans, basically very potent fuel, so the government used it to develop powerful weapons, which in turn bred government corruption, as those things tend to do. The city is also stricken by a plague spread by rats, which is killing the poor and isolating the rich. People who are infected by the plague, they're known as weepers. They cry blood, they become violent, and the government uses the plague as an excuse to just take or purge citizens as they wish. Your whole deal is you work with a covert group of activists known as the Loyalists who plot to overthrow the government and install the Empress's daughter as the new Empress.
Yeah, basically like the Loyalists. Oh, I didn't even see that's what they're called. This is strange to me though, because the other group of people, it's the what is his name?
Which one?
The guy who's in charge. It's like the Supreme Regent or
Oh,
something
the
like that.
Lord Regent.
Right. I don't understand like the reasoning for his people following him.
I think it's just like when the Empress was assassinated, he was like just and the daughter went missing. Maybe just, governmental organization, he was just the next person in line after her. So then he just became the ruler.
That makes sense. I don't know. I just remember like in the game, the whole story was confusing to me. But reading it back and watching it back, I really liked it. I want to play through the game again.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it playing through it. It was certainly like it's weird because you're not told a lot of the background information in actually playing the story. You get that through like the ambiance dialogue that just you hear like people talking when you're going through missions, or like there are voices over loudspeakers when you're going through missions. Those are like the where you hear the backstory and stuff. Because in the main story, everything is, for the most part, everything is like, which it makes sense to do it story wise, where like everyone talks to your character Corvo as if he knows what's going on, because he knows what's going on. They don't like do that whole, oh, they're explaining this to a guy that already knows it for the sake of the player, that kind of fourth wall break thing. Like they
Yeah,
very
that
much,
thing in
yeah,
games where they're like, I know you've done it 100 times, but let's do a crouch.
yeah. It's like this game very much was just like, hey, you know what's up, let's go. And once again, it's like it's cool in terms of in the story it makes sense, but then it sucks because it makes it trickier to figure everything out.
Right, it's a little bit too much because they don't explain enough. They're like, obviously you know why that all just happened and that lady was assassinated and that little girl was taken. Corvo, wink, like we know nothing about what's going on at that point.
So you want to start the story?
Okay, yeah, so after returning from a foreign voyage to seek aid with the deadly plague ravaging the city, Corvo Atano, who is the protagonist of the game, travels to the Tower of Dunwall and meets with the Empress. After delivering a message, they are attacked by teleporting assassins led by Dodd, leader of the assassin group, the Whalers. They magically restrain Corvo and kill the Empress. At the same time, they kidnap her daughter, Emily. The Empress's spy master arrives and has Corvo imprisoned for her murder and Emily's abduction, which also never made sense to me because they blame Corvo for the abduction of the daughter, but if he abducted the daughter, wouldn't he have left with her?
Yeah, no, that
Like,
makes
why would
sense.
he still be there?
Well, read the next sentence and you'll understand.
Oh, shoot.
Mm-hmm.
So 6 months later, the spy master has seized control of Dunwall as Lord Regent. Interrogating Corvo, the Lord Regent confesses that he has masterminded the assassin and framed Corvo. What do you mean? No, I mean I knew that. That's a part of the story. But I mean like it doesn't make sense. Like why would other people believe that he would get caught? He's a master. Like it just didn't make sense. That's the part I felt was like that prologue part in games you were talking about.
I don't think it's weird. People tend to believe what their government tells them, especially back in a time like this where I assume a more industrial age part where like the average working man is not very highly educated,
That's fair.
it'd be like, hey, like, it's definitely more likely to believe, I feel like.
All right. So anyway, um, so basically, the Lord Regent confesses that he masterminded the assassin and framed Corvo. The following day, Corvo is scheduled to be executed. A letter from the Empire Loyalist is smuggled to Corvo, and he is given the means to escape. He meets Samuel. God, I can't say that. I can't say his name. Why can't I say Samuel right? He is a loyalist boatman that takes Corvo to each mission. Basically, his only purpose in the world is to drive the boat. He ferries Corvo to the Hound Pits pub to meet the loyalists, who are led by Admiral Havelock.
I assume Havelock.
Yeah, probably Admiral Havelock. So, while resting, Corvo is taken to a dream world where he meets the Outsider. The Outsider is he's kind of confusing, but he's really old and he is heavily involved with magic and he's almost like a deity, and there's like a group of people that follow him. There are other people in the world that have his mark, but at this point in the game, Corvo is branded with the Outsider's mark, which grants him powers, basically magic abilities that the Outsider gives him. Corvo is then sent by the Loyalists to eliminate the conspirators behind the Lord Regent's plot. And the player is given the option to kill or otherwise neutralize the targets. The first of which is High Overseer Campbell. Basically, at this point in the game, it becomes a series of assassination missions where you're just doing the Loyalist dirty work and eliminating person after person. Corvo removes the High Overseer and discovers that Emily is being held in a brothel called the Golden Cat under the supervision of twins Custis and Morgan Pendleton. Corvo rescues Emily and eliminates the brothers. After returning to the pub, Emily is taken into the care of Callista to prepare her for becoming Empress. So, while Emily is learning how to become Empress, Corvo is sent to abduct the genius scientist Sokolov, who is responsible for the Lord Regent's powerful technologies. Sokolov is taken to the pub for interrogation, under which he divulges the identity of the Lord Regent's financier, Lady Boyle. Corvo infiltrates Boyle's masquerade ball and disposes of her.
So, after returning to the pub, Havelock confirms they have done enough damage to move against the Lord Regent. Corvo infiltrates the Tower of Dunwall and removes the Lord Regent from power. He learns that the Lord Regent intentionally imported the plague to decimate the lower classes of society, but it escalated out of his control. Corvo returns to the pub, where the Loyalists celebrate their success, and after sharing a drink, Corvo goes to his room and collapses. Upon waking, he learns that Samuel poisoned his drink at the behest of Havelock and his Loyalist allies, Trevor Pendleton and Teague Martin, to prevent him from interfering in their plan to install Emily as Empress and rule through her. Because Corvo was very, very loyal to the previous Empress and is very, very loyal to Emily and would certainly not let them do that. Samuel remained loyal to Corvo and had given him a non-lethal dose of poison. Samuel sets Corvo adrift on the river and flees, and when Corvo wakes, he is taken prisoner by Dodd and his men, who intend to claim the bounty placed on Corvo's head by the now Lord Regent Havelock.
That's right, of course. The Loyalists take over, and Havelock becomes the new Lord Regent and just becomes another problem.
Yep. It was very, I guess, not surprising to me when it happened. Like, because I just expected something to happen because the game at that point felt like it was going too well. And what's it called? I was like, there's no way the game's done. This is too short, you know?
Right. I'm with you. I wasn't surprised.
Yeah. Plus, I can't remember because it's been so long since I've played the game, but I definitely just remember anytime Havelock spoke being like, oh, this guy's not good.
Yeah, he was kind of always a dick.
Yeah. Anyway, so Corvo defeats.
Samuel
Oh,
was
sorry.
always cool, though.
Oh no, Samuel's really cool. So Corvo defeats Dodd and his assassins before going into the sewers. He returns to the pub to find it overrun with guards and that Havelock has killed many of the loyalists. He discovers where Havelock has taken Emily and can save Piero, Sokolov, and Callista. Or he can not save any of them. He can kill all of them himself. It's up to you. Corvo signals to Samuel, who ferries him to the former Lord Regent's lighthouse. He infiltrates the lighthouse and either subdues Pendleton and Martin, or finds that Havelock has already killed them, ensuring the Loyalist actions remain secret. Once finished with Havelock, Corvo may or may not rescue Emily. Havelock's journal reveals that he suspected that Emily is Corvo's daughter. Never confirmed, but I feel like that's pretty much a confirmation.
I mean, in terms of like, I think most fans believe that to be the case, and it makes sense, and with the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the ending actually varies depending on the level of chaos the player has caused throughout the game. We'll talk about that later. But if Corvo saves Emily, she ascends the throne as Empress with Corvo at her side. If a small amount of chaos has been caused, a golden age dawns and the plague is overcome. After many decades, Corvo dies of natural causes and Empress Emily Caldwin the First, the Wise, buries him beside Empress Jessamine. If much chaos is caused, the city remains in turmoil and is overrun with the plague. And if Corvo fails to save Emily, Dunwall crumbles and Corvo flees the city by ship.
Super depressing.
Yeah.
I think I had the middle ending.
I got the good ending my first playthrough.
Impressive.
Yeah, it was not easy. A lot of dying and restarting.
Okay, let's talk about that. Dishonored is an action-adventure game focusing on stealth and combat, giving the player complete control over which they want to use. The game works on a level-by-level basis. They're semi-open, basically rooms.
I would say they are very open.
You think so?
It's like instead of making one large open world map, they instead made a bunch of smaller open world maps and cut you off from being able to leave those maps.
Right.
It's kind of like imagine, trying to think of a game that has like map sections.
Like The Last of Us Part 2?
No. Imagine like GTA 4, which has the 3 islands. Imagine if, in this mission you were on island 1 and you can go anywhere on island 1, but you can't leave island 1. And then the next mission you're on island 3. You can go anywhere on island 3, but you can't leave island 3. You can't go back to island 1 even though you've been there. You just have to stay there. And then the next mission you're on island 1 again, and it's like that. Like you're in a very decently sized area and you can freely explore that area to your heart's content, but it's not like, it is limited, and it's like, you can't do like the missions in any order you want like a typical open world game.
Right.
Well, not necessarily any order you want, but you don't have like options when it comes to that, like side objectives.
It's linear.
Yeah, that's the word. Yep.
So do you want to talk about the weapons?
Yeah, okay. So Corvo gets a bunch of different weapons, 6 to be exact. He has a sword, a crossbow, a pistol, a grenade, sticky grenades, and what is called a spring razor, which is basically like a mine that blows up blades.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's it. That's what that is. Very simple, but very effective.
It is simple. Each weapon serves its purpose. The crossbow was my main stealth weapon. I used the crossbow and the sword a lot.
Yeah, same.
I almost never used any of the others, actually.
Yeah, no, I played this game at a time when I was always very, like, no matter how many weapons they gave me, I would always use the same weapons the whole time. Like, I've moved past that phase now, but this was like when I was that type of player, I guess.
No, I still do that. Whatever the most optimal weapon is.
Yeah, I do that if they have like, multiple weapons in the same class, but I certainly like, in a game like this, if I'm being stealthy, I would use the sword and crossbow, but the second I went loud, I would start chucking grenades everywhere and shooting people with a pistol. Anyway, moving on. Noah, you also have supernatural abilities in this game.
I believe that's what makes the game for me, actually.
Oh, I 100% agree with that. Like I said, the powers in this game were the selling point.
Right. So the powers are given to you by the outsider.
Mm-hmm.
These powers come at different levels of strength. As you upgrade them, there's a lot of interesting ones, and they're creative. That's what I like about them. They're all unique powers, and this is how it reminds me of BioShock, because they have these unique powers, and they are also used by one of the characters' hands. For instance, my favorite power is the Devouring Swarm, which is when Corvo summons rats that can attack people and eat corpses. That's pretty disturbing.
Yeah, but it was so much fun to use.
It is so much fun to use, and it's horribly disgusting to witness.
Yeah. So yeah, anyway, there are a bunch of different powers that you get. There are they have different types of powers. They have active powers, which, like you said, there's for those there's a blink, dark vision, devouring swarm, possession, bend time, and wind blast. Which those, mostly the word says what they do. Like the name is descriptive enough. Like blink is like shifting forward. Dark vision, you can see. Dark vision is detective vision, basically.
Right.
Possession, bend time, wind blast, all very. And then you have what are called like passive skills, which are more like you upgrade it and it's just always there. For example, there's vitality, which gives you more health. There's agility, which you can jump higher and you take less damage from falls. There's shadow kill, which is a very useful one where unaware foes turn to ash when they're killed, which means their bodies can't be discovered, which is very useful if you're trying to be stealthy.
That is extremely useful. Right. So all in all, this is a good point to mention. Those kind of videos I was talking about.
Oh, yeah, okay.
There are these videos on YouTube, and I would recommend anybody go and watch them. But they're like it's these gamers who go through levels of Dishonored. I think both of them, and they will like eliminate everybody in the level in extremely creative ways with the powers and all the abilities and the environmental kills that there are. We didn't even mention, all that kind of stuff, and it's really interesting to see just because they do it so fast. It's a fast-paced thing, and they never get caught.
Yeah, I think they call
No.
those speedrunners.
No, it's not speed. Speedrunning is doing it literally the most optimal way to finish it the fastest.
Okay, so they're not
But
finishing
this
it the
is like
fastest. They're just
showing
doing it,
they're not
but they're
finishing.
doing
They're
it.
not finishing it the fastest will probably be getting there to the objective as quickly as possible, killing the person, and getting out. But they're like
You say they're
killing
not.
everybody on the way there.
Yeah, so you
It's
say
all
like
just
they're not.
tricky
They're not.
looking. It's not for speedrunning purposes.
Yeah, so they're not speedrunning. They're just playing the game quickly.
Right. It is fast paced.
Anyway, you also have equipment. You have food and elixirs, which restore your health and mana. You have rewire tools for rewiring things, and you have the heart, which is just a heart, and that's it.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the heart.
Yeah, basically that thing is like its only use is to find collectibles, and then also like if you aim it at people, you like hear kind of information about them. I think like their desires and stuff.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. But yeah, its main thing is it on the map lets you know where collectibles are. If you have, your HUD enabled, it will just show you like highlighted where they are, wherever you're looking. It's useful for finding them because we'll talk about the collectibles a bit more. But like the main collectibles that this helps you find the runes and bone charms.
And those are important because they're used for upgrading.
Correct. Anyway, yeah. So traversal, stealth kind of goes hand in hand. But basically, you use your abilities and your tools to traverse the world. It's very unique as far as like free running parkour games kind of go because there's not like a designated climb button. There aren't really designated objects that it's like, you look at it and you're like, oh, I can interact with this. I can climb this. Like, for example, in Mirror's Edge, like all the interactable objects are red in a very like white, no color world, just this very bright red. And that's how you know it's something you can interact with. And most games that feature parkour aspects do one of those two things. They either have the specific thing you can interact with, or like in the case of Assassin's Creed, there's the specific button of you can, in Assassin's Creed, you can climb anything, but you're not going to do it unless you're holding down, the X button or the R1 button. And just as well, Emily's just as well, enemies have awareness and detection meters, much like any stealth game. But there are no like designated hiding spots or similar objects. Once again, bring back like Assassin's Creed. There isn't like a haystack you can hide in, or like a little, you can't jump in a shelf and hide in a shelf, or like Hitman. There isn't like designated objects you can use to hide behind, and there aren't also like designated objects for causing distractions. Like there's nothing like you don't have like Ghost of Tsushima, you don't have like firecrackers that you can throw and they create sound to distract enemies. There is nothing like that. It is just just you and the enemies, and the area is, like you said, very open. Like there are certainly there are like ledges, and there are like cross beams of like in ceilings that you can like use to be above people, and vents and stuff. But yeah, it's all like very open.
Really, you can't traverse the world without relying on the blink power. It's really what it boils down to. It's mostly blinking and climbing, because the running and jumping
especially
leaves
outside.
much to be desired.
No, do you want to talk about the chaos system?
Sure, I'll talk about it. So with the chaos system, the player's actions are not judged to be good or evil, but instead are tracked by a chaos system that records the amounts of friendly fire, violence, and deaths that the player causes. This modifies the game world. It affects the story without directly punishing the player or forcing them to choose one style of play over another. For example, an NPC who disapproves of violence may refuse to support the player, or may even betray them. So the game reacts to the chaos caused in scripted ways, such as changing dialogue, and dynamic ways, such as increasing the presence of rats and plagued citizens and adding new scenes. This can affect the active mission and future missions. The system also influences which of the game's two endings is reached, with variations based on which characters live or die. Using violence allows missions to be completed in less time than using a stealth approach, but violence consumes more in-game resources, such as health and mana potions, which are required more often in direct combat. So the resources are limited. This is something I came across because, as I mentioned, I struggled with being stealthy in this game, as I do with a lot of stealth games like this. It's like you said, when there's not a designated like hiding spot, it can be really hard to deal with enemy awareness once they are aware of you. So personally, I am not a fan of the chaos system. I found it hard to control, which I guess is the point. But that was only because the game was difficult for me. Maybe if I lowered the difficulty, I could have had a smoother time with it and enjoyed it a little bit more.
I really like the chaos system. I thought it was cool. It's like to me, this is kind of like what I wanted the Infamous system in Infamous to be more. Like it's like a more extreme version of that. Whereas like in Infamous, for the most part, you have your choices, the immediate aftermath of those choices, and then the like ending. And those are the only things where the Infamous system really, really comes into play, other than like powers and stuff. But in this game, it's like characters act towards you differently, and the just things happen differently, and characters' reasonings for doing things change, and even like you had said, there are more rats, there are more plague citizens, which do attack you if they see you because they are violent. So like it's just more people you have to deal with and watch out for. So it's certainly like it's really cool. I really like it. I also, I did play through the game twice. I got the good ending and the good bad ending. Because there's like the good bad ending where Emily lives, and then there's the bad ending where she dies. And I got
It's like the middle.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I would still say it's bad because the city gets overrun with the plague. But yeah, it basically, it ties into like how many people you kill and stuff, which I like that. Like I liked how each mission is its own area. And then the pub in that immediate area is like your hub world where you go there and you interact with people, you can do whatever, and then you go back. Usually it's like talk to Samuel on your next mission, and then he ferries you to that mission. Very interesting. Like when you're in those areas, usually someone will come on like the loudspeakers that they have throughout the city, and they'll talk about the previous mission, like kind of like news reporting on the event. And they will talk like it will be changed depending on how you do. Like for example, in like the very first prologue, when you're escaping prison, if you kill guards, like they'll talk about like, oh, many guards lost their lives in this escape. But then if you don't kill anybody, they'll say like, oh, luckily no guards were killed in this escape attempt. And it's just like cool stuff like that. It definitely like makes me feel like not killing a bunch of people or killing a bunch of people makes a difference in what is going on.
Yeah, I respect that.
Yeah. And like I also like how characters react to you. Like my favorite thing ever is like Samuel in the good ending is he's like your right hand man. He trusts you above everyone. He thinks you're like a great man. And then in the bad ending, when you go to the final mission specifically, he wishes you luck. He's like, yeah, all praise and stuff. But in the bad ending, he's like, man, you really screwed things up. You suck. And just over and over again, talking about how much like of a shitty person you are. And then you get to the island where it's just crawling with enemies, crawling with sentries and, searchlights and stuff. And if you're in the bad ending where he doesn't like you, this bitch shoots a flare.
Like, that's hilarious.
Alerting everybody to where you are. So then, like, when I played through on the bad ending, I killed him.
You could kill him?
Yeah, on the final mission, like, you can literally kill anybody, which once again is another cool thing of like any character in the story, like at some point or another has a point where you can kill them or not kill them. Which it even said, when I was researching the game for this episode, one of the like the main game dialogue is very short, very succinct, because you can kill the people at any moment, and they don't want like, so they didn't want to give characters super long lines and a lot of expositional dialogue, that would be considered like super important, because then if you kill that person, oh, well, that's done. And that
is freedom of choice. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. And it's like I think like there are certain people
have been better ways to write around it, I think.
Maybe, but yeah, there are like certain people obviously you can't kill. Like you can't kill Havelock whenever you want, and you can't kill Samuel whenever you want. But I just, in this last mission, you can absolutely kill him, and I did that because he shot a flare, told everyone where I was.
Yeah, that's funny.
But no, I liked it. I thought it worked out really well.
Yeah, I'm definitely inspired to give it another shot and try a pacifist playthrough.
Yeah,
I've talked about wanting to do a pacifist playthrough in a few different games, but I've never actually tried one.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Neither have I. But no, this game was a big turning point for me as a person, actually, when it comes to playing games and stuff. Because before this game, I would like just get super frustrated, bash my head against the wall for like hours and hours trying to play a game in like the quote unquote proper way, I suppose. And I get frustrated because I'm not great at games, and so I can't really do that a lot. And this one, especially with how difficult the stealth aspect of it was, I would try to be stealthy and I would be found and I would run away and I would hide and wait for them to stop searching for me, and I would try to be stealthy. And like the first time I played the first mission of the game, not the prologue, but the first like actual assassination mission, I remember like probably like it took me 2 hours the first time, and I just got so frustrated with it. And then I didn't play the game for like 3 months. And then I thought to myself, like when I finally picked it up again, I was like, you know what? I'm going to replay this mission just because it's been a while. And I came to the conclusion of, you know what? I'm going to try to be stealthy because I want to be. But if I screw it up, then screw it. Everyone's dying. And, I found myself, one, I just enjoyed the game a lot more after that. And, yeah, that certainly has affected how I have played games since.
Like, you don't like stealth?
No, like I like stealth, but I guess initially I was just such a perfectionist
about it. It doesn't have to be perfect,
it.
Right?
Yeah, like I was like I'd be spotted and I'd instantly like, pause and restart from checkpoint, whatever. And it's like no matter what I did, I couldn't get to like this first guy to potentially assassinate him without being spotted, and it just really frustrated me. And then yeah, I just reached that point where I was like, you know what, I'll be stealthy as long as I can, because it does make like it's hard to be stealthy, but it's also like easier because you don't have to fight. So I was like, I'll be stealthy as long as I can, just so I don't have to kill a bunch of people, because also I was trying to go for low chaos and I didn't want to kill a lot of people. But I was like, but then, if a group of people discover me and I got to kill 5 guys, those 5 guys are dying, and then I'll continue being stealthy when nobody knows where I am.
That's fair enough. I
Yeah.
do like also the sword combat is not bad in this game at all.
No, it's not. It's fun.
Like blocking and parrying and attacking, like, and dodging. It's all pretty fun.
Especially when you have powers like the slow time and even blink, very good to use during combat.
Yeah, something I appreciate about blink is the enemies don't know where you go if you blink behind them.
Yeah.
They like stay looking in the same direction and they're just like confused
Mhm.
because they don't understand that you teleported behind them.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, that's the chaos system. Very, very big part of Dishonored. So additionally, there are collectibles in the game. There are runes, which, as you said, runes are used for upgrading Corvo's powers. All of his powers, so you get the blink for free, but every other power you have to buy, and every power can be upgraded once. So a lot of I never did find all the runes in one playthrough, so I don't know if you can get every single power and every single upgrade in one playthrough, but it's certainly, there were some powers that I never found myself using, so I, didn't buy them playing through
Yeah, I
again.
definitely did not get all the powers. The runes sometimes are difficult to track down.
Yeah.
All the collectibles in general, for that matter.
That is correct. Then you have bone charms. They function as perks. For example, a bonus to your sneaking or increasing the effectiveness of health elixirs. And those are the same along the runes. Not obviously not as many of them, but you've like both of those you can find with the heart. So they're like your supernatural, quote unquote, collectibles. And then you can find Sokolov's paintings. Each one of them is worth several hundred gold pieces because you do make money and you do you buy upgrades to equipment and stuff. You find audiographs. They contain a short recording made by one of the key NPCs. And those were fun to find. Like, I didn't go out of my way for them, but if I saw one, I would absolutely grab it because it's just more world building, learning more about characters and stuff.
Yeah, this is actually my favorite way of giving out like little world details and lore.
Yeah,
bits.
I do. Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think any game that does audio logs for world building purposes, I really love, because even finding documents,
Bendy.
like finding documents is fine, but a lot of times some games they have so many or whatever that I don't read them.
Yeah, it's not really like in most games. For me, it's like the first few will be fine, and then it's like after that, it's like pages per document, and I'll like collect them and be like, when I finish the game, I'll go back and read through this, and I never do.
No, I'm the exact same. The biggest one for me with that was Death Stranding. Actually, like getting all the collectibles in that, I was absolutely like, man, because I thought the world was very interesting. I want to know the backstory about like the world and the characters, and I was like, man, I'm absolutely going to read all these when I find them. But just it took so long and stuff that when I was done, I was like, I'm good.
Right, but audio logs are easy. They're like 20 seconds, 30 seconons maybe.
They're played the second you find them. So
right,
and even like then, I play every game with subtitles. So it's even like if I necessarily can't hear it or I miss something, I can read along to it as well. And then there are also blueprints. They can be bought from Griff, the merchant, or found in the game world. They allow you to purchase new upgrades for your equipment.
Why is the merchant always named Griff?
Name one other game where the merchant is named Griff.
Mad Max.
Okay, so that's 2 games.
His name's Griffa.
Okay, so it's not even Griff.
I thought Griff was short for Griffa.
I think this guy's name is just Griff.
What game is this?
We're not talking about Mad Max.
Oh, sorry. That's next week's episode.
Nope. First off, we don't do weekly episodes. Second off, I will die before we do an episode on Mad Max.
Well, we're coming up because I'm going to go on strike unless we do a Mad Max episode.
All right. Thanks for listening to the last episode of the Super Gamer Bros podcast.
It was good.
We had a good run.
We had a good run. I wish we had one follower on Twitter though. If I had one regret.
Uh, oh my god. No,
So
we're
Campbell, go follow our Twitter. He'll be there one day.
You bringing Campbell into this? Oh god. Campbell, don't follow our Twitter. See, now we'll figure out which brother he respects more when he does or doesn't follow it.
So, anywho,
So, anywho,
I spent very little time on the collectibles myself. I did just want to say that they were not easy to get, most of them. Like you said, the autographs, it was just whenever I came across them, I didn't actively search for them, but I did actively search for the bone charms and the runes, and I had a hard time getting a few of them.
no, they're crazy. Yeah,
If I remember correctly, it's like mostly the parkour aspect, right?
That, and there's usually enemies around them, or they're like, in a home of like some person who, they're just always surrounded by enemies. So it's just like another stealthing aspect on top of already having to do all the stealthing for the normal mission.
Right.
So anyway, I guess we'll move on to the notable trophies. So there are 2 notable trophies in this game. I feel like anyone who has perfected the game, anyone who's played the game would understand. There is Shadow. You completed all missions after the prologue without alerting anyone. And Clean Hands. You completed the game without killing anyone. Which, to me, once again, I guess just speaks to how cool and how well done the game is in regards to things like that. Like the like the chaos system and stuff is you can literally kill everybody and you can literally kill nobody.
That's a good game. That's a lot of choice. It's a lot of freedom. I love it. These trophies sound insanely difficult. I reread it.
Yeah.
I thought it was without killing anyone. Oh, wait, no. I mean, all the missions after the prologue. Yeah, I misread that, and I did not realize it was without being alerted a single time.
Yes, not a single time.
That means, like, if you're spotted, you have to restart the mission.
No. I was
No?
gonna say, this actually, I do not have the platinum in this game. But I am 100% going to go back and get the platinum for this game because I didn't get the platinum because this game has basically because I thought that I don't know why, but I thought that the DLC trophies, I didn't realize they were DLC trophies, and some of those seemed really, really difficult, and I didn't want to do those. And so I was like, well, I can't get the platinum, so I'm not going to do these. But then now that I literally today realized, oh, wait, no, those aren't needed, I absolutely am going to go back and get the platinum in this game. Which, obviously, like, these 2 things don't have to be done at the same time. Like, you can be spotted by everybody, but just, run through areas and then hide and stuff and complete the game without killing anyone. And then you can also complete the game without alerting anyone, but you're, killing everyone in, like, stealthily so that they can't, they're like,
So there's nobody to be alerted?
yeah, pretty much. But most people do, and when I play the game, they do, do both of these trophies in one run because it's kind of, easy-ish to combine them, hypothetically. But
are you going to try to wing it, or are you going to follow a guide?
Oh, no, I'm 1,000,000% going to follow a guide. But also, specifically in regards to the alerting anyone trophy, this game is very generous because you can manually save at any time. So if you get spotted, you just reload your last save.
That's good if you're a frequent saver.
Yep, which recent games I've played have really turned me into a frequent saver.
I respect anybody who has these trophies, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I do too. Believe it was Oddworld New and Tasty.
Okay.
Because that game you can save whenever you want, and certainly makes the game easier to save all the time.
That makes sense for Oddworld. I hate Oddworld.
All right, we will not be doing an episode on Oddworld. Yeah. All right, now we're going to move on to the questions. Favorite moments, Noah.
My favorite moment. I don't know. That's a tough one. You talk about yours. I gotta think about it.
All right, my favorite moment is the masquerade ball. Basically, when you have to kill Lady Boyle, she's having a masquerade ball. So you invade the masquerade ball, which is easy because never even mentioned, but Corvo has like the coolest mask in gaming history. I just absolutely love his mask that he wears.
He does, but you only see it on the at the beginning in the on the case.
Yeah, I know, but it's awesome. Just knowing that I'm wearing it, and he takes it off. He takes it off at times. Like it's all first person, so you don't see it, but he takes it off. But no, I. But so you invade this masquerade ball, and as part of all of your targets that you have, you can either kill them or every time in each mission, like an alternative comes up where you don't have to kill them. And this one, there are three Boyle sisters, and each one is wearing the same costume but in three different colors: red, white, and third color that I don't remember. Maybe black or something. But you have to throughout, like you can obviously just go around, just start killing people at the party. But also you can literally like freely walk around this party, like there are guards there, but unless you're going somewhere that you're not allowed to go, they won't stop you or anything. I'm pretty sure. And you just walk around the party and you just talk to people, and it's basically like there's a game going on of trying to figure out which sister is which. And then you can talk to people and you can find out and you can talk to her, and then you can uh for the non-lethal version of this one, I mean, you could just kill her, but also for the non-lethal version, there is a guy that I think like right as you enter the party, he's like walks up to you and he's like, I know who you are, I know what you're here to do. And he's like, I love Lady Boyle. If you just bring her to me, I'll just take her far away and we'll live happily far away from here, and you don't have to, like, super stalker guy. And so then you can just knock her unconscious and take her down into the cellar, and he takes her away on a boat, and then you leave, and that's it. And once again, being like the masquerade party, you can just walk out, nothing happens, which is just, it is such so cool. And I also like I like just very funny moment happened to me when I was going through it, where like I had her like in this like back hallway area, and I knocked her unconscious, and I picked up her body and I was carrying her towards the cellar, like trying to stay hidden, holding her body. And it was like literally like I opened a door and a guard was just standing there looking at me as I'm just holding her body over my shoulder. So I literally just like threw her body down, shot him in the face, and picked her body up and kept going.
What the heck?
Like he would like, cause I opened the door and he was like, "What the hell?" And like I just like it,
That would
it's
have
like,
like, oh hell.
because it's like there's no like animation for like setting him down or anything. He just like they're it's kind of like
But he did like a little arm movement and then they'd like drop almost. They don't. He
yeah,
doesn't really throw them very far either.
yeah, it's just like
Kind of like a
they just
foot in
flop.
front of you.
Yeah, they just ragdoll on the ground, and she just ragdolled, and then I shot that guy and kept going. And then when I was on the stairs going down to the cellar, these guys were like further up the stairs, and they like I didn't know they were there, so I was just walking and they heard me. And so once again, I just threw her body down. Then her body started rolling down the stairs as I'm like fighting these two dudes. And then I had to, I kill them. And I have to
Yeah,
chase
that's
her body.
hilarious.
No, it's it was just fun. I really enjoyed the mission. What about you?
I can't think of a specific moment. I was thinking about a specific mission, but I can't remember how to describe it. It might be the mission when you're going to capture Sokolov or Sokolov.
I also cannot describe it, but I remember that mission very clearly, and that is a fun one.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember it being like there's a lot of like science stuff
Yeah.
in the environment of the maps, the rooms. I mean, but that's what I remember about it. Yeah, no, for me, there's not like a specific moment. For me, what made this game enjoyable was the unique powers, and I love the setting. You know, a game with a beautiful setting, especially like when you have I'm kind of like a sucker for the gothic setting.
Yeah, same.
I also liked Bloodborne for that reason, and I did get about halfway through Bloodborne before giving up last time I played it, which is farther than I've ever gotten before. But I have beat Sekiro like 5 times, so I don't want to hear it.
Do you have the platinum?
No, I know. It's on my list. I still need to get it. It's just work because I have to do the final boss fight 2 more times because I have to do a manual save before, and then pick one of the endings, and then do it again and pick the other.
Favorite target?
My favorite target was the first one because it was the easiest.
That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah, every target after the first one, I can't remember his name.
The High Overseer.
The High Overseer. Thank you. I was gonna say it had high. I thought it was like High Counselor, but the High Overseer. Yeah, it was just easier. The rest of the missions after that, I had a really hard time with, and I was like, even though they were all like unique and beautifully designed levels, um,
Yep.
they're still hard.
Yeah, my favorite was the Lord Regent, not Havelock, but the first one. Just because one, it's, like very it was like for the most part, like the end of it was kind of stupid, but for the most part, the mission itself was actually like an easier one for me to be stealthy through. Uh like just somehow like I don't know what happened, but I just was getting through it real stealthy. And also I really like the alternate version of killing him where like you just expose him for his crimes and stuff. Like I think it's like you find an audio log of him like talking about it and then you just like play that over the loudspeakers like throughout the entire city.
That's exactly what it is. It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, and he ends up being arrested and stuff. It's a really cool moment. Like I just thought that was like it was one of those things that I was like it was super frustrating to get to that point, but I got there and I was like, yeah, this was worth it.
Not necessarily designed for stealth.
What we didn't like about this game, it was not necessarily designed for stealth. I think like I said, like the fact that the chaos system is what it is, and the fact that like there's you know a trophy for never being seen and for never killing anyone's stuff, like it's annoying and frustrating at times with how like there isn't like we had said before, there isn't any you know objects that you can necessarily use for stealth or anything like that, because it just makes it like you said, like it's extremely difficult to get through the game without being seen. And like I definitely remember there were moments where I was like, literally, there is no way I can get through this section of this mission without being seen. Like I've been sitting here for 15 minutes trying to figure it out and there's nothing I can do. And it's just like stealth, I think on its own in any game where you can be stealthy or loud is harder than being loud, 90% of the time. And it also takes longer, which like even talking about the short dialogue earlier, the game developers also purposely made the ambiance dialogue of people talking in missions in the loudspeakers and stuff, those very long and very expositional, because they knew people who were playing stealthy would be spending a lot of times in these areas. um
That's pretty smart.
yeah, and it's like it's already something that takes longer than going loud, and in any game stealth is longer, so it's like, yeah, I just wish there was something, just like one little thing like you could do.
Do you have like an example?
Like I said, I just mean like of like maybe just like designated hiding spots or something like that. Like not like litter them everywhere, but uh just stuff like that.
That's fair.
Because it's also like even
Well,
necessarily maybe not even during the act of stealthing, but when you get discovered, there isn't like an easy way to get enemies to like forget about you and move on. Like, in other games, like, Assassin's Creed, where like you hide in a hay bale, they search around for a bit, they don't find you, or Outlast, you hide in a locker and they, search a locker. If they don't find you, then they, move on. Like if there was something like that, either of those two, I just feel like it would have been a lot more manageable. At least, like obviously if you can't be seen ever for like that trophy, it doesn't matter, but just makes the aspect of going through stealthy much more feasible.
true. Um, you're right. I don't know. It could be just level design that makes the stealth difficult, or the amount of enemies, or how densely packed they are in some areas was a problem. Like it was pretty rare that like only one person was, alerted.
Yeah, no, that was a problem. Like especially like the last mission, it was insane. But I mean, all of those things on their own are fine, and like I don't really want enemy behaviors change a bit or something, but like the actual design of the levels, like I don't want that changed. I like the designs. I thought they were really good. I just like just throw me a bone. Just add something in there that makes it a tad easier.
Right.
Yeah, because like I said, like I definitely plan on going through this game without alerting anyone. I'm definitely going to use a guide because like I feel like it's going to literally make this playthrough go from taking easily 20 plus hours to taking maybe like 5 plus hours. And it's like if it's cutting down 75% of your playtime by watching a guide, then you did something. Like to me the best games are the ones that you can do, things like collectibles and just the game itself, like aspects of it like this without needing a guide.
I completely agree, but I still say use one when it saves that much time.
That's what I'm saying. Like obviously using a guide in any game will save time, but me personally, I don't want to use guides for things. Like
No, I try
I
not to.
just yeah, I try not to, but there are absolutely times when, I just am like, all right, I've spent what I've deemed as too long to be looking for this one collectible. I'm looking it up, or I've spent too long on this one part. I'm looking it up, and
That's exactly how it goes.
yeah, and like this is definitely one of those where like I spent initially like 2 hours on just the first mission trying to be stealthy and failing every single time. When it's like I could look up a guide and get through that mission in like 20 minutes.
Right, but
It's
then isn't the fun of that isn't the fun of Dishonored going through the levels and figuring out
that
how
is that
the
is
guards move and how
I
what the most optimal route is.
I 100% agree with you. I just think like yeah, I just think it's like it's I don't know, like maybe I'm just I just wasn't finding it. But like I said, like I spent like, oh, let me try this way. I don't see any way to get through this without being seen. And then maybe even like trying it and getting spotted and then reloading and being like, okay, well, let me go this little different way. And oh, nope, that didn't work either. Let me try this. Okay, well, this room, I just can't get through this room. Let me try just a completely different path. And doing that over and over again for, an extended period of time, like I it just to me seemed a bit excessive. And like I said, maybe it's me. Maybe like it was definitely years ago when I played the game, and I absolutely will play it again soon. And when that happens, I guess going into replayability aspect of this, when I do play it again soon, maybe it'll just click and I'll just get it without too much difficulty. But like especially in like the later levels, there are moments when I'm like I just have no idea how someone is expected to do this.
Yeah, I completely agree because I had that problem at the beginning.
And like I'll try. Like I will try without using a guide. But I certainly have my limit of okay, this is taking too long. I'm just going to look up a guide for this part and see what happens. Anyway, this is something that's not going to take too long. But this game did have DLC. Um, so the first DLC was released December of 2012, which was called Dunwall City Trials and contains 10 challenge maps. The player must defeat waves of enemies, complete time trial challenges, perform a series of drop assassinations in which the player kills its drop assassination. And this is what made me not want to get the platinum originally was I saw these trophies for the trials and thought they were in the
Main
base
game.
game and was like, oh man, these seem ridiculous. I'm not doing this, and that's what stopped it for me. Because even then, like when I initially played through the game, I got every trophy except for the ones for not killing people and not being seen because I really enjoyed the game. I was like, well, I'm not gonna go for those because I can't get the platinum, but I'm still gonna get all the other trophies because man, this is really fun. I really enjoy it.
Right, I get you. Do we have do we have those other DLCs? Because that sounds really cool, actually. I want to
Uh,
play those.
We do not. Yeah, so there were two story-based campaign DLC packs, Knife of Dunwall and Brigmore Witches. On those, you follow the story of Dodd, parallel to the main game with his own abilities, and it shows his perspective on events. And basically, you go through those two. His choices and abilities carry over, so whatever you choose and upgrade in the first DLC pack affects the second DLC pack dialogue and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just two little things focused on him, which I knew these existed when I played the game initially, but didn't get them, and obviously still have not gotten them.
Yeah, I bet they're cheap now.
I don't know. Does the PS4 version of the game come with them automatically?
I don't think so. You have it on disc, don't you?
Yeah, well, no, it might be download because it
You have
came with
both
Dishonored.
Dishonored 1 and 2 on disc?
Well, no, Dishonored 1 I have on PS3. Dishonored 2, um, which like you got for me for Christmas, came with like Dishonored Definitive Edition on PS4. I've
Oh, but
I
it might have been a download.
I imagine it was a download code.
And if it's the definitive edition, it probably has the DLC.
Yeah, that's what I would think. But no, I have not. I on PS3. I I don't know. I'll check it out. Maybe it's super cheap.
Anywho,
But anyway, that's the DLC. Like, yeah, we didn't play them, so yeah, there's not really much I can say.
right. So final
So,
review on the game is I really enjoyed my playthrough of the game, although I found stealthing to be nearly impossible. When I try it again, I'm gonna play it on probably the lowest difficulty.
yeah, I would say much of the same. It was really it was like initially when I was just trying to go for stealth, it was really frustrating. But then when I just played the game in my whatever happens happens mode, it was really enjoyable. Like I very much enjoy this game, and like I said, I do plan on going back to complete it soon, and I'm sure I will enjoy it then too.
All right.
All right, well that's all I think we have to say about Dishonored.
Dishonored.
Dishonored. So I think now we're going to move on to the indie bit, the bit where we talk about indie games.
Yay!
So today we are talking about Dust and Elysian Tale. Dust and Elysian Tale is a story of a guy named Dust who wakes up with no memories, does not know who he is, just wakes up in a forest. He is found by the magical sort of Ashra that talks, and basically he is trying to stop evil general from basically just evil regime, and the general is also currently hunting down and killing what are called moonwalkers, and that's the story. You're just trying to stop that guy. Game basically works. It's like a side scroller game focused on. Is this Metroidvania? Like I never really understood what the Metroidvania.
Metroidvania, what that means that when people say something is like Metroidvania, it's where you go along the game and you come to parts of the game that are blocked off until you get certain abilities later on,
Okay,
and
yeah,
you can
no,
come back.
this is like that. Yeah. Basically, it's combat. Like combat works very similar to like a beat 'em up. So yeah, no, this is just Metroidvania. Dust does have the sword he uses. He also travels with Fidget, which is this. I don't know what she is called, like what her species is. But she's like this orange bat monkey thing. I'd say more just a bat, but and she has magic powers that you use in conjunction with the sword. But then also it does have like a risk reward system because if you use the sword's powers too much, it can hurt you. Anyway, Noah, did you like this game?
Um, I played a little over a quarter, and it took about 3 or 4 hours. After that, I had a really hard time motivating to open it back up, just because this type of game is not my cup of tea in general. However, I did enjoy this. The combat, I found it to be surprisingly in depth. Although I did have struggles with the countering and the dodge system. I also didn't think there was a lot of variation in the grunt enemy types for in the way they attack. It's mostly just like kind of overloading the screen with enemies, and I prefer when there's fewer enemies with different types of attacks to overloading with the same type of enemies. The I love a parry system, and this game does have one, and it is very difficult. You have to press and hold the attack button at the exact moment your opponent attacks. And it is satisfying when you do it on purpose. I did it once or twice. But I know you want to talk about the story, but the story was not capturing me so much, and I am personally not a fan of the anthropomorphic character designs.
Oh, you don't like furries?
Yeah, I'm not so much into it.
I love it.
Hey, to each his own.
Yeah. No, I really, really enjoyed this game. Like top games of all time enjoyed this game. I will say, no, there's a little fun fact. This game was made by a very small development team, even for indie games.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it was one guy.
What?
One guy.
Who?
Uh, so it was created, designed, developed by Dean Dodrill, who pretty much like he did all the artwork, he did all the coding, he did everything pretty much himself. Uh, yeah, so literally aside from the voice acting, soundtrack, and parts of the story, it was designed and programmed entirely by Dodrill, who is a self-taught illustrator and animator.
That's extremely impressive.
Yeah, like he got a little bit of help with the story writing. He did not do the music, and obviously he didn't voice every single character in the game. I don't know if he voiced any characters, but he literally did it all himself, which
Yeah, that's amazing.
is just incredible for how good that game is. It really just makes you wonder how entire development studios can make bad games.
Yeah, it's hurtful.
Yeah. No, but yeah, like I said, I really enjoyed it. I like the story. The voice acting at times was a little like, eh, like it's not bad.
It left much to be desired.
I wouldn't say that. It's just like obviously being an indie game, they couldn't get any big name voice actors or anything. At least as far when I looked at this list, I hadn't heard of any of the people, and they definitely, I think, for the most part, were newer. You know, like obviously cheaper, less experience, which is something that is I think you can tell. Like it's not bad. It's just they're like every once in a while there'd be like a line delivery that I'd be like, maybe could have done that one again. But it was certainly not enough to like disrupt anything. But no, I did like three. I did get the platinum in this one.
Good job, good job.
Yeah, very, very fun game. So yeah, don't forget, new episodes every other Monday.
Oh
Rate.
wait.
Oh, sorry. What?
What about the next game?
Oh, Noah.
It's
What
right
is
there.
Noah? Yeah. Noah. What is our next indie bit game?
Hold on, I gotta look at my library.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I forgot.
Oh my God. You pick every other one. I've got my next four picked out.
Do you really? I don't play that many indie games is the thing. I mostly play AAA games, so and they're
Um,
like a lot of the other games I play, I want to do full episodes on.
I I I usually do like I'll play a big long AAA game and then I'll play like an indie game or two in between just for like that shorter experience.
I play multiple AAA games at the same time and switch between them about every hour.
That I just don't understand that.
I jump into Immortals, do like complete like a part of a area, jump into Mad Max, complete a part of an area, jump into Spider-Man, do a couple story missions and a side mission, jump into Maneater and complete a part of that, you know.
I no, I cannot do that.
Yeah.
Like I remember there was one point recently where I was kind of like that where I was like in the middle of like five different games at once. But even then, like every time I usually find myself like one game that I'm just always like, yeah, I'll play this one. I want to play this one, instead of the others. So I'll usually just play a game till it's beaten, then move on to the next one.
Damn it, I'm looking up Bethesda space game. Starfield, okay, yeah. So that's supposed to be like what, like Fallout in space?
Oh, the new Bethesda game?
Yeah, the RPG
No, it's
set in
Elder
space.
Scrolls in space.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, it says the award-winning creators of Elder Scrolls and Fallout. Anywho, I think the next indie bit game I'm gonna be picking is called The Persistence. That's basically it's like oh, it's so random. It's a definition of an impulse buy. I was on like Reddit or something, and somebody like was posting. It was like a little review of it, and it was like $10 or $15. and I believe it's a survival horror game, and I think it has procedurally generated levels. So, and interesting weapons. That's all I really know about it. It was pretty impulsive. It's been a dry year for games.
Yeah, I've just been going through my back catalog.
Yeah. At one point I was playing Kingdom Come Deliverance, and that's the hardest game I think I've ever played.
Mm.
Mechanically speaking, you're like fighting the mechanics of the game the whole time. Anywho, don't forget new episodes
Hey, no,
every
that's my
other
thing.
Monday.
No, you shut up.
Rate and
Stop talking. No,
subscribe.
shut up. Stop talking.
Superb with a B.
Anyway, don't forget new
Maybe everybody
episodes.
is following the Twitter that's Super Gamer Bros without a B, and that's the problem here.
Ah, man, I hope not. I would imagine people would look and realize that's not the one because that one hasn't been used since like 2012, which is weird because you think Twitter would deactivate it and, let me take that name, but nope, whatever. Anyway, don't forget new episodes every other Monday. Rate and subscribe. Tell us if you like our show or tell us if you don't, and tell us why. Tell your friends and enemies about the podcast. You can follow our Twitter at Superb Gamer Bros. That is SUPERB Gamer Bros. And we have an Instagram now. Noah, you like the Instagram?
The Instagram? Where is it? The Super Gamer Bros?
Yeah, we got our actual name for that one.
Okay, yeah, that's close.
What do you mean? That's just it.
Are we the?
Yeah. You thought we were just
Well, that's
Super
cool.
Gamer Bros?
I don't think it matters.
Yes, it does.
No. Anywho.
Yeah,
Um,
we also you can follow our Instagram, the Super Gamer Bros, for updates on episodes. And yeah, we'll see you guys next game.
Bye.